What's up, everybody? It's been a while since I've been here um, because life just has a way of doing what it wants when we think we can do what we want. But nonetheless, I'm grateful to be here and to be back. And I took some needed time off from the podcast the last 3, 4 months. Um, really just opened my eyes to some things that I still needed to work on with me. And I wanted to do that in private. And friends and people close to me kept saying, share, Darrell, share, share. And a part of me was really reluctant because at the end of the day, this is still my life, these are still my experiences. And the point of this platform is to empower. But I think that there's a way that I can grow and still align myself with the work that this project means to me, the whole point of me doing it and starting it. And when I started thinking about that, I kept hearing in my head, start over, start over, start over. The joy of starting over. And the last few weeks have been reminders of just how important that is. The process of starting over and what you gain with a fresh set of eyes, with a fresh perspective. So today's topic is the joy of starting over. So if you haven't noticed, I changed the name of the podcast to Brother Be Well. It was something that kept popping up with me, and it really resonated to what I want people to take from this, what I want people to understand from this. So, although the focus is wellness in Black men, wellness affects and impacts all of us, and we all can use these tools and strategies and perspectives to be better at what it is and who it is that we want to ultimately become. And so I'm really I'm a really good cook. And during the pandemic, a very good close friend of mine's, childhood friend of mine's, his house was being completed the weekend that COVID happened. So the world, the states, everything just shut down. And he's like, my house is finished. I'll be there this weekend. I'm like, okay, whatever. So lo and behold, with quarantine, we started doing brunch every Sunday at his house. Same group of people because we wanted everybody to be safe. So the only place that I went or any of us went was to the supermarket, our own homes, or his house. And it stayed that way for months. And of course, with everything being shut down, that was all we could do to kind of like get each other through the pandemic. He had just moved down here. None of his family was here. None of my family is here. Some other friends came down, so we all really created this community. And I have a very popular brunch item that I'm pretty sure everybody loves, shrimp and grits. And the crazy thing is, I didn't grow up eating grits as a kid. I was a Farina fan. I did not like the way grits looked. My mom and my aunt used to always make them, and I'm just like, I'll take Farina. And as I got older and, started experiencing life and going out and doing things, shrimp and grits was like the thing. All right, cool. So I learned how to make it. And in the beginning, it was difficult because I've never made grits before. So the consistency was off. Okay, so I tried again. A little too thick. Okay, try it again. A little too salty. Okay, try it again. Not enough cheese. Okay, try it again. And it was in this process of me just going and going and going and going and going and going. I finally got it right to where it was like, It was savory. It was nurturing. Um, it had that umph to it. And it's so easy for me to make shrimp. My friend literally will only eat shrimp when I make it. And even with that, trying this didn't work. Okay, try it again. Letting it marinate a little bit longer, adding things into the marinade, like just really figuring out the recipe for how I wanted it to be, right? Because I had this vision, but I had to follow the recipe. And by the time COVID happened, when I first did it at his house, Black people, when it comes to us cooking, there's like this unspoken rule of like the first thing, the first thing that goes is what everybody enjoyed. And the first time I did it, gone. Second time I did it, was gone. Third time, I mean, every time that we would have a brunch, it was shrimp and grits. It had got to a point where he had an event at his house that was after the pandemic. And I want to say maybe 25 to 30 people. Darrell, I need you. All right, I got you. 5 pounds of shrimps, 2 bags of grit. Like it was crazy. And each and every time it was gone. And the last few weeks, like I said, I've been doing a lot of just thinking and reflecting and understanding that it is okay to start over. In any aspect of your life, it is okay to start over, whether that be with friends, whether it be with work, intimate relationships, interpersonal things that you're dealing with yourself. It is okay to start over. Give yourself the platform to begin anew, to start from square one, from a place of unknowingness. And I think the last 2 months, January, February, I was in a place of just not knowing what I was doing, why I was feeling certain things, certain traumas from my past coming back up that I thought I had dealt with, that I didn't deal with. I just kind of got really good at compartmentalizing things and triggers and just so many things just coming from all aspects. And I told myself that no matter how hard things were about to get, where I am now is not healthy. What I'm feeling right now is not healthy. It's time to start over. It's time to start over. And in doing so, I really had to just strip down to the bare bones of who I want to be, what my morals are, what my values are, things I will and won't tolerate, what's disrespect, what's not disrespect, how I engage with people, how I respond, how I react. And this probably sounds familiar because I've talked about this on other episodes, but the power of choice will amaze you. The power of choosing to do better for you, no matter what, is amazing. And oftentimes I let fear get in the way of that, because now it's back to square one. Now I don't have that friend in my life. Now I'm not at that job that, benefited me to a certain degree. Yeah, I don't speak to this family member the way that I would want to, but the power of choice and starting over at square one has just been so eye-opening for me and so fulfilling that I almost regret not doing it sooner. I almost regret not understanding that this is my world. The space that I exist in is mine. And when people and things and circumstances and situations are allowed in that space, when it doesn't feel right, let's start over. Let's start over. And sometimes starting over could be removal. Sometimes starting over can be removal. And I've been very intentional about my prayers. I've been very intentional about meditating, journaling, and every time things got challenging, things got uncomfortable, or things became almost to the point where they were unbearable, it was because I was praying for removal. Very clearly, God, please remove anything that is not for me, that is not aligned with who I am and where I'm trying to go. God, I know that you put things into my life, but I know that you also remove them. So, God, I ask you right here, right now, as humbly as I may, to remove anything. And every time, every single time I said that prayer, things started to happen. Things started to shift. Colors started to be exposed. Feelings started to come to the forefront. Behaviors started to resurface that I knew that I just didn't want to reconnect with or realign with. And it was the power and the joy of just starting over. Simply starting over. I think of my life as a recipe, right? And I relate to cooking so much because when you follow the recipe, you get the end result. The journey of cooking, the prepping, the seasoning, marinating, getting all of the ingredients together, I enjoy that process a lot. I love going to the grocery store, love going to the farmer's market. When I was a kid, it was something that I stayed away from because my mother just kind of made that a chore that just was not it for me at all. But when I think about recipes and the order in which the ingredients are in, I know the end result comes from that recipe being in that order. And if my life is a recipe and I have the ingredients to get to the end goal, why do I hurt myself by not seeing that certain ingredients aren't supposed to be here? Yeah, it might have been an ingredient for another recipe or another time in my life when things were different, when I was different. But as you grow and you develop and you pour into self, that doesn't belong here anymore. And I'm getting goosebumps because this was literally my thought process over the last 4 weeks. Certain things, energies, perspectives, people just no longer belong in the space that I allowed them to occupy. And we get comfortable with the familiar, we get comfortable with routine. It's human nature. But I'm so glad that I knew what to do. And it was just as simple as starting over. As simple as starting over and enjoying the journey and the process that is happening to me. Because anything that has left me, it served a purpose. And I'm not voided when things leave, when things exit, when things transition. I'm not voided. There's lessons in everything. And sometimes hitting the reset button just helps. The joy of starting over gives you an opportunity to apply your knowledge, to apply your experience to moving forward, to apply everything that you've gained and gathered to get to your end goal, to get to the best version of yourself. How much further would you be in your life if there were instances where you simply started over, where you simply let go of what you know to explore what you don't know, but you're applying your experience to your circumstance? We don't go through things in life just to repeat cycles. We don't experience heartache, betrayal, disappointment, hurt, just to experience it. And it's not meant for us to stay in those circumstances, to stay in those feelings. It's not healthy and it doesn't benefit you. So, what would it take for just a little bit to look at the, I don't want to say brighter side of things, but to look at things from a perspective of love, from a perspective of forgiveness, from a perspective of releasing? How much could you gain for you if you started over? If you knew the things that are holding you back, that are keeping you from fulfilling what it is that you want, if you just start over.